My name is Ava Reynolds, and for most of my life, I've been a ghost in my own family. Not the kind that haunts with chains or whispers, but the kind you don't see at all. The kind that stands 3 feet away at a graduation party, watching a banner flutter with my sister's name in gold letters, Sophie Reynolds, future lawyer, and nothing for me. Not even Ava. Just a blank space where I should have been. IT started small, the way erosion does. When my dad, Richard, introduced us at his firm's holiday parties, he'd grip Sophie's shoulder and say, "This is my daughter, Sophie, our future lawyer." His voice swelled with pride, like he was presenting a trophy. Then his eyes would slide to me and he'd add, "And this is her sister." No name, no context, just a vague outline, like I was a smudge he hadn't quite erased. I used to think I was imagining it, that I was too sensitive, too quick to take offense. But then came Sophie's high school graduation, a pastel-colored affair in our small Washington town. The whole family showed up, aunts, uncles, cousins in stiff smiles, all gathered under a tent in our backyard. Dad gave a speech, glass raised, voice booming. To my one and only star, Sophie. I was standing right there, close enough to smell the champagne on his breath, but I might as well have been invisible. That IT wasn't just that day. It was every day after. They didn't post about my acceptance to Crestwood University, a small but prestigious school in the Pacific Northwest. They didn't visit when I moved into my dorm, didn't call when I aced my first coding class. Holiday cards started arriving without me in them. I'll never forget opening one on a snowy morning, expecting the usual family photo, me, Sophie, Mom, Dad, maybe our old Labrador, Rusty. Instead, it was just them. Sophie centered, holding Rusty, Dad and Mom flanking her, all in matching red sweaters. They didn't crop me out. They retook the picture. A perfect family of 3. Like I'd never existed. Did I stop asking why? I stopped arguing. I let their silence settle into my bones, heavy but familiar. My mom, Clara, used to say silence could be a shield, not just a weapon. She was a nurse, always scribbling little notes for me, on napkins in my coat pockets, on the margins of my textbooks. "Your strength is your silence," she wrote once, before she got sick. She died when I was 20, taken by an infection that a better hospital might have caught. That loss carved something out of me, but it also lit a fire. I wanted to fix what took her, rural hospitals with no resources, no tech, no chance. But Dad? He saw my dropout from Crestwood as a betrayal, not a mission. To him, I was the daughter who failed, while Sophie, with her law school dreams, was the one who'd carry the Reynolds name. I built my life anyway, away from them. I started Vital Path Solutions, a medtech company, under a pseudonym to keep them from finding me. I didn't want their approval or their judgment, just distance. My startup grew quietly, connecting rural clinics with telemedicine and portable diagnostics, saving lives in places like the one that couldn't save Mom. I didn't tell anyone, not even my cousins, who stopped texting after a while. I let the family think I'd faded, just like they wanted. But one Tuesday morning, an email changed everything. IT came from Crestwood University's alumni office, subject line screaming with confetti emojis. "You're invited. Class of never commencement highlights." I almost deleted it. Alumni emails usually meant donation please or parking maps, but the preview snagged me. Special guest keynote. Investor Summit, featuring the CEO of one of America's fastest-growing medtech startups. My heart stuttered. I scrolled past photos of smiling grads, past ticket links, until I saw it. A blurred silhouette labeled CEO, Vital Path Solutions. Me. They didn't say my name. Not yet, but the rumor was out. My secret was slipping. A few hours later, another email landed, one that wasn't meant for me. It was a forwarded chain from my Aunt Linda, full of plans for Sophie's law school graduation at Crestwood. Catering menus, seating charts, photos of Sophie's cap and gown. Then one line from Dad, sharp as a blade. "Make sure Ava doesn't hear about this. Last thing we need is a distraction on Sophie's big day." Distraction. That word hit harder than any insult. It wasn't just neglect. They'd planned my absence, like I was a stain they'd scrubbed out. For years, I'd swallowed their silence. But this? This was a choice. And for the first time, I didn't feel sad. I felt something colder, sharper, like steel settling into my spine. I wasn't going to crash Sophie's graduation. No, I was going to walk into the room next door and make sure they saw me. Not the girl they erased, but the woman I'd become. I closed my laptop, the glow fading, and started planning. They wanted me gone?
Fine.
I'd show them what gone could build. That night, I sat in my tiny Seattle apartment, the hum of the city outside barely reaching me. No lights, no music, just the faint buzz of my fridge and the glow of my laptop screen. Dad's words looped in my head, distraction. It wasn't new, but it cut deeper now, like a knife finding a scar it already knew. I thought about all the times they'd pushed me out, Thanksgiving dinners where my chair was already filled, birthday texts that never came, cousins who'd mumble, "Haven't seen you in forever," like I was the one who'd left. Maybe they were right. Maybe I was the problem. The glitch in their perfect family portrait. I stared at my reflection in the dark laptop screen, messy bun, tired eyes, a hoodie with Vital Path's logo stitched in small letters. No one knew that logo meant me. I'd built my company in shadows, filing every patent, every contract, under an alias. Not for fame, but for safety. I didn't want Dad's voice in my head, telling me I'd fail. I didn't want Sophie's pitying glance, the one she gave when she thought I wasn't looking. I'd let them believe I was nothing, a dropout who drifted away. But that email, that word, distraction, it woke something up. I wasn't just going to fade. I was going to show up. The next morning, I rummaged through my kitchen drawer for a takeout menu, something to ground me. Instead, my fingers brushed a crumpled piece of paper, yellowed and soft, like it had been waiting for me. I pulled it out, a receipt from a diner near Crestwood, 5 years old, with Mom's handwriting on the back. "Your strength is your silence." I froze, my breath catching. Mom used to leave notes like that everywhere, tucked in my backpack, slipped into my sneakers before a big exam. She'd been gone 8 years, but that note felt like a message from her, timed for this moment. I pressed it smooth, my fingers trembling. She'd believed in me when no one else did. She'd seen me. Later that day, my phone pinged. A message from Noah Carter, my CTO and the only friend who'd stuck around for my dorm days. Investor Summit is locked. Same campus, same weekend as Sophie's graduation. "You in?" I stared at the words, my pulse quickening. Crestwood University, the place where I'd spent nights coding in the library, where Sophie had once laughed with her friends, calling me the dropout who followed her. Now it was hosting 2 events, Sophie's law school graduation and the Investor Summit where I'd been invited to speak. Same day, same campus, same hour. It felt like fate had drawn a line and dared me to cross it. I opened my laptop, pulled up 2 tabs. One for the summit itinerary, confirming my keynote slot as Vital Path's CEO, name to be revealed. The other for Crestwood's graduation ticket portal. I typed a pseudonym, Clara Evans, a nod to Mom, and reserved a front row seat. I wasn't going to storm Sophie's stage or beg for a seat at their table. I just wanted to be close, to see Dad's face when he realized the daughter he'd erased was standing in the light. I wanted to watch, not disrupt. But I wasn't going to hide anymore. The confirmation emails landed like bookends to my plan. One, from the Investor Summit, locked in my keynote slot at Crestwood's glass-walled auditorium. The other, from a graduation ticket office, secured my front row seat under Clara Evans. 2 events, 2 worlds, 1 campus, and I'd be in both, a ghost slipping between their lines. I didn't use my real name for the graduation ticket, just a monogram twist to keep them clueless. I wasn't there for a scene. I wanted proximity, the chance to see Dad squint when he realized I wasn't gone. Not really. The morning of the trip, I packed light, a navy blazer, a black dress, and the low heels I'd worn years ago when I pitched Vital Path to a room of skeptical investors. They hadn't cared that I didn't finish Crestwood. They cared about my numbers, my plan, the way I spoke about saving lives in towns like the one that lost Mom. On the train to Crestwood, I passed the old science building where I used to nap between classes, where Sophie once told her friends I was just hanging around her. Now, my name was in the summit program, whispered among industry folks, while Sophie's cap and gown took center stage across the quad. When I arrived, the graduation usher scanned my ticket and grinned. Front row, reserved early. Someone really wanted you here. I smiled back, my stomach twisting. Guess so. I settled into my seat, third from the aisle, the sun warm on my neck. Graduates filed in, their caps bobbing like a sea of black squares. Sophie was up there, gown pristine, her face all polished confidence. She'd always been good at playing the part Dad wrote for her. Behind me, I heard his voice, low, sharp, giving orders to a security guard near the entrance. "Make sure everything's smooth," he said, his tone clipped, the one he used when he wanted control without a fuss. I kept my head down, my hair tucked behind one ear, blending into the crowd. He didn't see me, not yet. His eyes scanned the rows with that familiar disappointed squint, the one he'd aimed at me the day I told him I was leaving Crestwood to build something real. The usher approached again. "Ma'am, just confirming your name for the log?" I handed her the ticket, and she nodded, moving on. Then, a professor paused nearby, his glasses slipping down his nose. He glanced at me, then did a double take. "You're Ava Reynolds, right? Vital Path Solutions? I read your white paper on rural telemedicine. Brilliant." His voice carried just enough for the couple behind me to turn their heads. I smiled, my heart pounding. "Thank you." Across the quad, the summit banners were already up, Vital Path's logo spinning on digital screens. The loudspeakers crackled, signaling the ceremony's start. Behind me, Dad's voice cut through again, louder now. "She's not supposed to be here. Check the list." I didn't flinch. Let him search. Let him fume. The girl he'd erased wasn't in that seat anymore. The woman was, and soon, everyone would know her name. The graduation speeches droned on, but I barely heard them. My eyes flicked between Sophie, poised among the graduates, and the digital banners across the quad, where Vital Path's logo glowed against the glass auditorium. My keynote was 40 minutes away, and my nerves felt like live wires. I slipped out during the third speech, just as Sophie's department head took the podium, my seat emptying before Dad could clock me. I crossed the campus, the spring air sharp with pine and promise, and stepped into the summit's backstage chaos. My assistant, Mia, met me with a tablet and a nod. "Slide deck's ready. They still don't know it's you. The dean thinks you're some Ivy League recluse." I smirked, flipping through the slides. Data on rural health gaps, projections for Vital Path's expansion, a map of clinics we'd saved. Solid, clean, but something felt off. I opened the final slide, a bland "thank you" in plain text. It was safe, forgettable, not me. I deleted it, my fingers moving before my brain caught up. In its place, I typed, "Ava Reynolds, Crestwood dropout, CEO of Vital Path Solutions." Below, in smaller font, "You forgot me, so I built something you can't ignore." Mia peeked over my shoulder, her eyes widening. "That's bold." I shrugged. "It's true." She didn't argue, just handed me a water bottle and pointed to the stage door. Outside, the graduation applause faded, and inside, the summit host's voice boomed. "Please welcome the founder and CEO of Vital Path Solutions." My breath caught. This was it, the moment I'd been running from, and toward all at once did I stepped into the lights, no script, just my name blazing on the projector behind me. Ava Reynolds, CEO. The room went quiet, not out of disinterest, but surprise, like they were piecing together a puzzle. Whispers rippled, phones lifted, and I felt the weight of every eye. For years, I'd been the girl no one saw. The dropout, the shadow, the sister who didn't fit. Now I was here, and they couldn't look away till I cleared my throat. I built Vital Path because my family thought I couldn't finish anything. I began, my voice steady despite the knot in my chest. They weren't wrong. I didn't finish college. I didn't finish being the daughter they wanted. But I finished this. I clicked to the first slide, a map of rural Washington, red dots marking clinics we'd brought online. Click. A hospital we'd partnered with, saving lives in towns like the one that couldn't save Mom. Click. A blurry photo of me, 22, hunched over a prototype in my dorm hallway, no lab, no degree, just a soldering iron and a dream. The audience leaned in, professors, investors, students. In the third row, Sophie's professor sat beside her, still in her cap and gown from across the quad. His eyes widened as I spoke, then he leaned toward her, his whisper caught by a nearby mic. "You didn't tell me she was your sister." Sophie froze, her perfect poise cracking. I didn't look at her, didn't need to. I clicked to the next slide, letting the numbers speak. The professor's words hung in the air. "You didn't tell me she was your sister." Sharp and unintended, amplified by the mic for the whole room to hear. It wasn't the applause that followed, or the murmurs rippling through the crowd, that made my heart race. It was that moment, the one Sophie couldn't script, couldn't control. Her professor, the one she'd spent years impressing, turned back to the stage, his voice carrying again. "Incredible work, CEO." I didn't smile, didn't flinch, just clicked to the next slide, but inside, I felt something shift, like a weight I'd carried for years finally crack. I kept going, my voice steady as I walked them through Vital Path's impact. 47 rural clinics connected, 12,000 patients served, lives changed in places the world forgot. I told them about Mom, about the hospital that failed her, about the fire it lit in me. The audience didn't just listen, they felt it. Phones were down now, faces locked on me, some nodding, some scribbling notes. I caught a glimpse of Sophie in the corner of my eye, her cap tilted slightly, her jaw tight. She wasn't clapping. Neither was Dad, somewhere in the back, his presence a shadow I could feel but didn't need to see. When I finished, the room erupted. Not polite claps, but a standing ovation, the kind that vibrates through your bones. I stepped back, the projector still glowing with my name. Ava Reynolds, CEO. For the first time, I didn't feel small. I didn't feel erased. I felt like the woman Mom always saw, the one she'd left those notes for. The professor's comment echoed in my head, not because it was loud, but because it was hers, Sophie's moment, and I'd taken it without trying. I left the stage through the back, no bows, no lingering for photos. The glass panels of the auditorium hummed with the crowd's energy as I slipped out. By the time I reached the hotel lobby, my phone was buzzing, 19 unread messages, 3 missed calls. One text from my cousin Ellie, "Was that you?" "Dad's losing it." I didn't reply. I didn't need to. A clip of the keynote was already spreading online. The professor's incredible work, CEO, looping on social media, racking up views. Every share carried my name, my story, the truth they tried to bury. Later that night, I saw Dad's Facebook page. Sophie's graduation photo, her in her gown, him beaming beside her, was gone. In its place, some vague quote about humility and success. Classic. Sophie posted too. Just one photo, no smile, no caption about my amazing family. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. The world was already saying what I hadn't. The days after the keynote felt like a tidal wave I hadn't planned. My phone didn't stop buzzing, messages from strangers, colleagues, even a reporter wanting a quote. The clip of Sophie's professor saying, "Incredible work, CEO," had gone viral, shared by tech blogs, retweeted by industry leaders, even memed with captions like, "When your sister's the real MVP." Every time it looped, there I was, standing tall at the podium, my name in bold letters behind me. I didn't post about it, didn't tag Crestwood, didn't mention Sophie or Dad. I didn't need to. The world was doing the talking for me. WY Monday, my inbox was a flood. Not just from investors or press, but from family, though not the way you'd expect. No apologies, no, we were wrong. Instead, it was polite opportunism, like they'd just discovered me on LinkedIn. My second cousin, Mark, wrote, "Hey Ava, saw your keynote. Wild. Got any internships open?" Dad's old law school buddy sent an email. "Richard mentioned you're doing big things in healthcare. Our daughter's looking for a startup gig, can we connect?" The boldest came from Sophie's boyfriend, a guy I'd met once at a family barbecue, where he'd barely nodded at me. "Now, didn't know Vital Path was yours. Impressive. Need a legal intern?" No mention of Sophie, no hint of shame. Just doors they'd once slammed, now cracked open for their own gain. I forwarded the worst ones to Mia, my assistant. Add these to the never pile, I said. She replied with a skull emoji and a done. I didn't answer most of them. Why would I? They'd called me a dropout, said I'd never amount to anything, warned me not to embarrass the Reynolds name. Now they wanted a piece of what I'd built. The irony was almost sweet, like biting into a dessert you didn't order. They didn't see me when I was soldering circuits in my dorm, when I was pitching to investors who laughed at my lack of a degree. They didn't see the nights I cried, wondering if Dad was right, if I was nothing. But they saw me now, and that was enough. Sophie's social media went quiet after that weekend. No more posts about her perfect family, no graduation recap. Just that one filtered photo, her face blank, like she'd lost something she couldn't name. Dad's page stayed vague, all quotes and no substance. I didn't reach out, didn't call, didn't send a single text. They'd wanted silence from me for years, and I'd given it to them. Now, my voice was everywhere, in the clinics using VitalPath as tech, in the articles quoting my keynote, in the whispers of strangers who'd never met me but knew my name. Weeks later, the ripples kept spreading. Crestwood University added my keynote to their business ethics curriculum, filed under Resilience and Impact. A professor mailed me a handwritten note. Your story is inspiring our students to rethink what success means. My tech was saving lives in rural clinics across Washington, Oregon, even Montana, places like the one that couldn't save Mom. Every time I saw a new clinic light up on our map, I felt her with me, her note still tucked in my wallet. Your strength is your silence. I hadn't been loud, but I'd been heard. My family didn't reach out directly, not really. Dad sent a message through Ellie, something about moving past old misunderstandings and families sticking together. It wasn't an apology, it was damage control, his way of trying to rewrite the narrative.
I didn't respond.
There was nothing left for me in their world. Not the old house in our hometown with its sagging porch, not the dining room where my chair was always empty, not even the garden Mom used to love, now choked with weeds. I'd spent years trying to fit into their frame, but I didn't need their table anymore. I'd built my OW, and MY legacy wasn't just VitalPath, though that was part of it. It was the way my name echoed in places they couldn't touch, in boardrooms, in classrooms, in the lives of patients who'd never know the girl who'd been erased. They couldn't claim me, couldn't twist my story to fit their pride. I'd become something they couldn't understand, something they couldn't erase again. Sophie's professor had said it best, not just in that viral clip, but in a follow-up email. Your work is a testament to what happens when you refuse to stay silent. I framed that one, hung it in my office next to Mom's note. I didn't go back to the house, didn't call, didn't try to fix what they'd broken. They'd wanted me gone, and I'd given them that, until I came back, not as their daughter or sister, but as Ava Reynolds, CEO. I'd walked into their world, stood in their light, and left with something they couldn't take, a name they'd have to remember. Every time they saw a VitalPath clinic, read an article, heard my name in a lecture hall, they'd know. I wasn't their failure. I was their missed chance. Looking back, I don't hate them. Hate takes energy, and I've spent mine building something bigger than their silence. They didn't scream or slam doors. They erased me quietly, with empty chairs and retaken photos, with words like distraction that cut deeper than any yell. For years, I let them believe I'd faded, let them think the Ava they knew had dissolved into nothing. But the truth doesn't stay buried. It grows, it builds, it walks onto a stage and speaks that I didn't need their applause that day at Crestwood. I didn't need Dad's approval or Sophie's regret. I needed the moment I got, the one where the world saw me, not as their failure, but as the woman who turned their dismissal into a legacy. My name is on hospital screens now, in lecture halls, in the lives we're saving. They try to make me a shadow, but shadows don't build companies. Shadows don't change lives. I carry Mom's note with me, not because it's all I have of her, but because it's all I need. Your strength is your silence. I was silent for years, but not anymore. Now, my voice is in every clinic we open, every patient we reach, every student who hears my story and thinks, maybe I can do that too. I didn't raise my voice to prove them wrong. I raised a company, a mission, a life they couldn't ignore. And that's the part they'll never forget. To everyone who's followed this journey, thank you. You've walked with me through the shadows, the fights, and the moments that made me. If my story hit you, made you angry, made you cheer, made you feel something, then share it. Hit that subscribe button and join us, where every story is about breaking through, standing tall, and building something real. Keep chasing your own truth, and I'll meet you in the light.